Hey, it's Nolan Mathias from Mortgage 360, and today we're talking about kissing the 5% down payment goodbye and why you probably don't need to worry about that. But before we get into it, do me that favor, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell for the most up-to-date information in the mortgage industry, and please hit that like button because that like button determines how many people see this video. And quite frankly, this is one that people need to see because the media grabbed onto a small little quote in a very large interview with Evan Siddall this week and basically blew it out of proportion. So getting this video out, getting accurate information out to people is important, and ultimately you're in complete control of that. And all you have to do is hit the like button so more people see the video. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what happened. So this week, Evan Siddall, president of CMHC, testified at the House of Commons to the Standing Committee on Finance about all things mortgages. And specifically, he talked for a little bit about 5% down payments and prudence around them. And here's the quote. The quote was, "A 10% down payment provides a better cushion than a 5% down payment does." And that's obvious, right? So does a 20% or 30% or a 50% down payment. Heck, if you want to have a really good cushion during a financial crisis, have no mortgage at all, if that's possible for you. But if it's not, obviously a bigger down payment is better than a smaller down payment. But what happened was the media grabbed onto this one little quote and then basically took it and tore it apart and made it seem like Evan Siddall is not a fan of 5% down payments and that he's going to get rid of them. And there's a couple things wrong with that. First of all, Evan Siddall is a very smart human being. He would not suggest getting rid of 5% down payments because he knows the catastrophic effects that would have on the real estate market. Furthermore, he also knows that it would be a massive mistake. And he also doesn't have the power to do it. That's the finance minister's job. The finance minister makes the rules around minimum down payments and specifically around insured mortgages in Canada. So the media grabs onto this, makes it seem like Evan Siddall is going to get rid of this stuff, doesn't have the power to do it, probably doesn't believe that it's a good thing to do. But what they missed was what he was actually suggesting. And here's what he was actually suggesting. As CMHC, as the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, and Evan Siddall as president, they've got an obligation to Canadians to make sure that the people that they are lending to have the ability to actually make the payments on their mortgages. And what he's suggesting is that in a time like this of economic uncertainty, that you have to get more prudent in how you're lending on that minimal down payment sort of product. So what he's suggesting is this. He's probably going to take another look at debt servicing ratios, so the percentage of your income that goes towards your mortgage and your other debts. And they're probably going to make some changes around that to make it a little bit harder to get a mortgage with only 5% down payment. Then he's probably going to look at minimum credit scores and what the credit scores are that are required in order to get a mortgage. And this is probably a good time to do that because all the credit reporting agencies made some changes in the last few months that are making the credit scores kind of jump around. So they're probably going to take another look at minimum credit scores. And then they're also probably going to look at the industry that somebody works in when they apply for a minimum down payment mortgage and make sure it's an industry that still has reasonable job prospects. And that's just prudent underwriting. And that's all he's suggesting is we're going to get more prudent in our underwriting. And that's good financial decisions, good financial management. And it is a positive thing for all borrowers because basically what CMHC is doing is they're saying, if you're on the fringe of being able to afford this, if home prices go down, we're going to make you rethink it and we're probably going to require a higher down payment amount. Basic stuff, very smart. So there's a whole bunch of other reasons why you aren't going to see 5% down payments go away. And let's talk about those. First of all, Evan Siddall doesn't have the ability to make the change. He can't make 5% down payments go away. He can lobby the government and the finance minister for that. But ultimately, it's up to the finance minister to make those changes to the rules with respect to insured mortgages. And let me tell you right now, there's zero political will to remove 5% down payment as an option for purchasing a house in Canada. Quite frankly, because if the Liberal government or any government for that matter were to make that suggestion, they would lose a pretty big voter base in first-time homebuyers. And quite frankly, that's who the Liberals' biggest voter base right now is: young professionals, first-time homebuyers, people who are in that market. So removing that option would be catastrophic to them politically. Second of all, if they were to do that and get rid of that 5% down payment, what it potentially could do is decrease the number of borrowers in the pool of borrowers, which decreases demand and ultimately could become a self-fulfilling prophecy and create what they're worried about anyways, which is a reduction in home values due to this pandemic. So that would be a bad idea as well. And then let's say home prices did go down and you no longer have the option to buy with a 5% down payment. The people who don't have the ability to purchase with more than 5% down are basically left out of the market. So you're basically creating a scenario where the wealthier people have the ability to purchase homes on sale, and the people who need the help and the mortgage insurance wouldn't have that same ability. So, it doesn't make sense across the board. There's so many arguments against, and simple logical arguments against removing the 5% down payment, that it's just something that will not happen. Now, here's what it means though if you are purchasing with a 5% down payment. Is one, you're going to have to make sure that your debt levels are down. You're going to have to make sure that your credit is exceptional. No missed payments. Make sure that you're dialed in, and you're going to have to make sure, or at least hope, that you're in an industry that has stable job prospects as we come out of this pandemic. And that's it. It's going to be a little bit harder, but it's not going to be impossible to get a 5% down payment going forward. It just isn't going to happen for so many reasons. And if there's one reason that is the most important and probably the most likely that you will not see 5% down payments go away, it's just because, quite frankly, there's no government that would have the will and the desire to remove those options for a very large percentage of their voter base. So hopefully that information lands well, and hopefully it helps with this whole conversation around the 5% down payment going away. Please do me that favor, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and again, to get this information out to as many people as possible, hit that like button because it really, really helps. Thank you. Have a great day. Hope you're staying safe, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers.